tuned in with us today on www.dryboneconnection.com. Drybone Connection is here to give you all information that you need to know about history, anything you need to know about world news, any kind of news that you want to find out that you can't see on regular TV. You can tune in to Drybone Connection. We're here for you. We're here for our communities, our families, our churches. We want to come and give you the straight truth, the raw truth. You probably ask yourself questions many a times about things that you been uncertain about, but we're here to open up your understanding. How far you choose to go, you can go through Drybone Connection. Well, now we're here today with my sister.
Hi, I'm Elaine.
And
I'm Felicia.
We're here today to speak on topics. That's what we're here. The Daughters of the Nile Speaks is our organization. We're here to speak for black women. When we say black women, we don't mean prejudice. We just mean that we're interested in our culture. We're interested in knowing things about us that was never told before. So now we're here, Daughters of the Nile to speak out to the world, to let them know our history, our hidden history, about our women, on how God made us, Mother Earth, and how He formed all this, and that we have the key to life in our hands, and we have the power to bring our families back to love. So today our topic is, what's the problem that we have between our men and women, our black men and women, the distance between our men and our women today?
Most of the time it's because of the relationship that they had with their mothers. They didn't have a good relationship with their mother, or it's how they feel about their mothers or their sisters or any female in their life and growing up.
Mm-hmm. You mean the woman or the men, or just both?
Both.
Both.
Most of the time.
Okay. Elaine, I know you.
Well, I believe that we both have a part. I agree with Felicia that women have lost because we have missing pieces in our lives of who we are, our story, that we forget that we were the queens of. If we are the queens of the earth, and we come from a great history. Mm-hmm. And because our history, we were robbed, we genetically keep reproducing the seed of making us more,
condemned.
It's just like we're just, down to a part of a trick, a hoard. It's fashionable. Mm-hmm. It's become fashionable,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
that hurts relationships. You can't have a relationship when when your man is looking at you like a trick or a whore.
I think that this world system plays a real big part on how our relationships are based.
Yes.
Because when you look at the system and you look at how our black culture system was designed before the cotton field, because most of our history as black women or black people, we only know as far as the cotton field and as far as what white American history books can tell us. But when we look beyond that, we go all the way back to Egypt. There's some things about us that we never understood when it comes down to our women and how our relationship balance, the man and the woman balance each other, and how we are empowered when we are balanced, and how that create a strong family and a strong foundation, a strong community, a strong church, or a strong group of people, period, when you have a belief. And I do know that most of our people don't understand our history and how the woman ruled as well as the man. And European history taught us that the woman's to stand behind the man. So I think for black people, we've been having a real hard time trying to figure out where we fit in all of this. Because everybody could look back and find out where their history is and where they come from. But as we, as black people, as a nation, we can't go back and find out our true history because that was, genetically programmed into our minds and our spirits to not remember where you come from,
Right.
And Deuteronomy 28 tells us a lot about how we lost our identity and our language.
Right.
So if you don't know the foundation of your duties as a woman, or if you don't understand your foundation of duty as a man, then you can't come together and be balanced because of this world system has designed lust into the system for us. The more you got, the more somebody has. So, right. So what you do, you basically you trade off the family, you trade off values, you trade off things that were important to the family for things of the world. To be caught up in this, I call it a vicious cycle. A lot of times I say it's a vicious cycle.
It is.
Because once you caught up in the vicious cycle, it's no end in it. It just keep going and going and going and going. And, I don't want to just sit here and carry.
No, I agree. And the one thing, what I always think about is, like we were always discussing how Mary Bethune wrote, the true worth of a race is measured by the character of its womanhood. So, like, when you look at yourself, we represent our homes. How are we represented, in the world? And how is our race represented? It's on a woman's character.
Mm-hmm.
And when they keep defiling, or we keep defiling our own character, it keeps the race down.
Right.
It's easy for people to tread on you if somebody is kicking you and you're kicking yourself and we kicking. So love, we have to learn to love.
We have to learn.
We have to learn to love ourselves. Learn to love, the sisterhood. I believe our race will start rising.
Once we get back to the truth bring on honesty and understanding and communication. Most of the time, we don't have that because everybody have basically this facade. They put up this front glass, and when they send their person out to even meet somebody, it's basically the imagination in your mind that pumps that person to be what you think they should be. But once you're actually with that person, you realize that it wasn't what you thought it was.
Right.
Because really, you just painted that picture in your mind in that particular relationship,
Right.
with a man and choosing a man and, and all of that.
And it never works.
It never
Right.
worked. It never worked. If you don't have honesty and in a relationship and communication, honesty may hurt. It might say some things that will offend the other person because of the fact of whatever, but you have to be able to be honest to be able to, even continue on a relationship and our children are being lost because of it. The kids, they see that there's no honesty between the parents. So why should they be honest and dedicated to things that will, fulfill their destiny? And that was one of my questions also about the breakdown of the family before I came into Dry Bone Connection. It was like an eye-opening to me. It changed me. It changed me from looking into the world system, and see what it was before all it is. Yeah.
And the thing with Dry Bones, which is an awakening, when you study your history, you realize how Egypt had dynastic periods of balance in what came out of Egypt because the woman was in her rightful place. Everything was in order, and before the Europeans got into there. And now we live in it, everything is twisted. We know it, they know it, everything is twisted. And how do we as a woman, how do we get our race, untwisted? How do we untwist ourselves?
We have to go into that deeper side of ourselves. Let's go into a deep prayer. I find myself having to purify myself, go back to where I first began, which was in the church. But the church is, to me, right now, is just a building.
So you said something that's key. You said something that's already in you, because we, learning with Dry Bones that the Spirit, we already have the Spirit of God in us.
We don't need
So then the church is the building, not really helping the people, and still you're seeing divorce, family, rape, incest. It's still unbroken chains that just continue to spin.
I'm the prodigy of a divorce,
Me
a
too.
pending divorce. I'm married to a pastor.
Mhm.
That was a no-go. That was a no-go for, to be in the church
Yeah.
and to be married to a pastor.